Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading is going to be a short one, but it's going to be, honestly, a really fun one. So today what we're actually looking at is what animal spirit are you meant to embody in this lifetime? And what that means is basically like, what animal are you, kind of like for lack of a better term, but, what is your spirit most closely aligned to energetically? Kind of like choosing your persona, which is really a weird analogy, but basically what I want to get at here is, so let's take a tiger, for instance. When you're at your most powerful, you are confident, you are the leader of your group. Maybe you're more solitary. You have just like this air of power around you. Whereas somebody who's meant to embody the spider, when you're at your most powerful, you have, a very comfortable, protected home. You have abundance flowing to you rather than going out and hunting it. And on the contrary, if you're the spider, when you're, quote unquote, weaker, or when things aren't working out as well for you, maybe it's because you're overextending yourself too much. You don't have a home base to really root yourself to. And you're trying to be bigger than you are. So it's really like, what energy are you when you're most powerful, when you're most comfortable? What energy are you? I'm trying to find like the words, but like, what are you most aligned to when you are living your best life, when you are embodying your higher self? So we're gonna find that out, and then you get your own little like animal that, maybe it ends up showing up for you a lot more, like as signs and synchronicities, and you can say, yeah, that's my animal spirit. So that is what we're looking at today. So today I have 5 different readings for you to choose from. Usually I only do 3, but since this is going to be much shorter because we're only pulling 1 animal card for you, I am doing more. And so for reading 1, we have the Malachite. For reading 2, we have the Green Aragonite. For reading 3, we have the Angelite. And for reading 4, we have the Snowflake Obsidian. And finally, for reading 5, we have the Blue Dumortierite. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading you want to listen to. A good thing about the timestamps down below is if you feel drawn to certain numbers or angel numbers and you find those in the timestamps, it might be, trying to guide you to that pile. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the Malachite, then this is the reading for you, and you actually got the Peacock, which I think is a very interesting animal spirit to embody, because when I imagine somebody who embodies the peacock energy, it's somebody very attractive and beautiful. So I want to give you that right now. Like, if you felt really drawn to this one and you feel like this really resonates with you, and sometimes maybe you feel down about your appearance, absolutely do not, because I think that people are very attracted to you, very drawn to you. I think people that are aligned to the peacock energy, sometimes they can be a little bit cocky. I'm imagining like somebody who is like, not the life of the party necessarily, but somebody that like always manages to draw the attention to them. And sometimes that can be a bad thing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could just be that when you're at your highest potential, when you are embodying your highest self, when you're your most comfortable, you just radiate this kind of like magnetic field that kind of draws people in. And when I'm imagining the peacock person, I'm imagining somebody who isn't necessarily always chasing things. They're more attracting things. So be it abundance, be it romantic partners, I think that when you're at your most comfortable and powerful, it's best for you to not always go out and reach for new things. I mean, of course, go out and try the things that you want to do. But when you are trying to manifest certain things, of course, like I say, put in the work that you have to. But if you are the kind of person that's always trying to overextend and push and try to grasp something, it's going to be harder for you to get than if you were to sit back and wait for it to come to you. Now, like I say, I always do believe that when we're trying to manifest certain things, we do have to put in the necessary work to get it, but I think you are also a natural attractor, and so there's a certain power that comes from patience, especially for you, where if you really want something, you've already done all the work that you can do to get it. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is sit back and wait for it to come to you. I think especially in romantic partnerships for you, you are going to get who you really want when you allow yourself to sit back and allow them to come forward. Instead of trying to force your will on them, trying to force yourself to attract them and force them to come to you, I think you really underestimate just how much of a natural attraction that you have. So, what I say for the peacock, a weak version of this peacock energy, or a person who's not properly embodying the peacock energy, is going to be somebody who is always stressed out because they're overextending. They're always trying to reach for new things, grab what they want. It's somebody who's not very confident in their appearance or their ability to attract what they desire. But somebody who is powerfully in that energy is somebody who is able to sit back, accept the fact that they are naturally gorgeous, naturally have the ability to attract what they desire, and has the patience to be able to sit back and do so, and also just knows how beautiful they are. Because I think that there's a lot of insecurity and there's a lot of need to compete with others, it's just stemming from this belief that you're not good enough in some way, that you need to prove yourself. But somebody who naturally embodies the peacock energy knows that they have nothing to prove, knows already, I've got everything that I need right here and people will come to me. That is the kind of energy that you are meant to embody and discover in your lifetime. So I think something that you're going to be doing throughout your life is learning to accept, I am an attractive person. I feel like maybe if you haven't felt this way for a while, it's those deep insecurities that quite honestly are not true. Like, even if you have maybe unconventional features, like maybe, unfortunately, especially in the West, we have the Eurocentric beauty standard, which is like, if you don't have a tiny upturned nose and Western features, you're unattractive. And that's absolutely not true. And something that I want to point you to is the peacock. Like, if you're just looking at their face, which I'm not saying you have an ugly face, this is just an analogy, but if you're just looking at this one part of them, you don't see how many gorgeous feathers they have and this gorgeous display of, like, everything that they have to offer. You're just looking at, like, oh, look at that beak. And it's like, no, look at the rest of them. And it's one of those things that, even if you don't have those conventional features, even if there's certain things about you that you're like, God, I wish I could get rid of this. If you took a step back and looked from another person's perspective at you as a whole, you'd be like, oh my God, that person, gorgeous. So I think a big thing that you're gonna have to work on in this lifetime is your confidence and knowing when is the right time to sit back and allow abundance and love and attraction to come to you. Because you are a very strong, naturally attractive force, and that's something that you're meant to embody in this lifetime. So, pile one, that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that you enjoy this, and keep an eye out for peacocks, because that could be a spiritual synchronicity or sign for you to, maybe if you start seeing peacocks a bunch, it's a sign from the universe that, like, maybe you're on the right path, or maybe this reading was true, or just trying to remind yourself to embody this energy. So, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile one. If you were drawn to the green aragonite, then this is the reading for you. And the animal that you got is actually the lamb, which might disappoint some people because it's like, oh, I wanted to be a tiger, or like, I wanted to be a lion, I wanted to be something fierce. But I feel like those kinds of feelings, if you have them, could stem from a place of maybe not feeling properly protected, wanting to be the one that was the protector. Maybe people put you down, and so you're like, you know what, I'm going to be the best possible person so that I can never be put down in that place again. But something that you're meant to embody in this lifetime is actually the carefreeness that your inner child has. And I'm going to get a little bit more in-depth into that, but the reason the screen looks a little bit darker right now is because I wanted you to see like the color connection of the green aragonite to these colors, because I think that could certainly be a color for you. And I'm also going to get into the meaning of what I think those colors are, but I'll go ahead and turn this over. It's just harder to see the green aragonite when things are a little bit brighter. But when I'm imagining the lamb as an energy, I'm imagining childlike, I'm imagining freedom, I'm imagining playfulness and happiness. And with these kinds of light pastel colors, it's making me think about just pure creative energy. And something that I think may have happened to you when you're younger, in your childhood, is maybe people put you down about certain interests or said you're never going to be good enough or you'll never be able to accomplish this or you're too small. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're shorter in stature, maybe people made fun of you for that. And so I think that you kind of grew up really fast and maybe tried to embody, like I said, like a tiger energy or a lion energy or like gorilla energy, because you're like, I will be the biggest, the baddest, the most confident, the scariest person possible, and nobody's gonna mess with me, nobody's gonna second guess me, nobody's gonna question me. I will be the only person that I need to rely on. But in doing so, it required you to kind of cut off or suppress the inner child in you that honestly is really in tune with creativity, is really in tune with love and life. And that's something that your spirit really wants to tap back into because that's where you're most naturally comfortable. No matter what you try to tell yourself about, like, yeah, I'm comfortable eating a bowl of nails, it's like, oh, no, your inner child just wants to sit in the grass and look for four-leaf clovers, you know? And when I imagine the lamb, it's like maybe you didn't have very caring or loving or like physically affectionate parents when you were younger. And so another thing is like I don't need this soft wool. I'm going to cover it up with armor. But it's like there's still this little baby lamb inside of you that just wants to be warm, just wants to be comforted, just wants to explore and have fun. And that's honestly one of the hardest things to try to embody. It's easy to force a shield around yourself and force yourself to be confident, Maybe it's hard for other people. But the hardest thing is when you've been forcing yourself to adopt that and then try to unlearn it and become this like soft, small creature again. Because it's seen as like a weakness. It's like, ugh, I don't want to be like that. I want to be self-sufficient. And you can absolutely still be self-sufficient, still be confident, still know your worth, still surround yourself with loving people and have proper boundaries, but also allow yourself to indulge in creativity and just creation in general. Allow yourself to love flowers, like something that's coming to mind, which, you don't necessarily have to be a boy or a man, but I'm imagining a little boy who, when he was younger, loved flowers, loved pink and like just floral, beautiful things. And then all the boys on the playground were like, you're not allowed to like that. That's not boy stuff. You're supposed to like monster trucks and Spider-Man and Batman. And so you grew up and you pushed aside those things. And now you're this big, burly, scary man who, on the inside, really would just love to work at a flower shop, would love to paint and be creative. And it's so much harder to allow that version of that man to pursue these things because it's like completely undoing your identity. Maybe you only allow yourself to do it in secret. But the energy that you're meant to embody in this lifetime is this lamb energy. And I think you're also a very creative person. So if you felt drawn to certain pursuits, you felt really interested in like photography or poetry, and it's like, no, I can't do that. That's not manly or that's not cool. Then you pushed it away. But something that you're meant to do in this lifetime is follow what you desire. I mean, I truly believe what we're meant to do on this planet and in this lifetime is follow what our heart desires. And sometimes we push that away because of ego or because it scares us or because people tell us it's bad. But there's no greater crime than telling ourselves that the one thing that we want in life we're not allowed to have because you only have one life. And in this life, your inner child wants to be expressed and happy. And maybe when you were a kid, you didn't have that strong person to protect you, but now you are that strong person. And you can protect yourself and allow yourself to pursue these things. Allow yourself to look at this lamb and not say, ugh, that thing is so weak and so small and so, like, vulnerable. Like, I could kick that thing over. Look at the lamb and say, like, I love that thing. I want to protect that thing. I want that thing to be able to flourish. Nobody looks at a lamb and is like, I want to kick that thing in the head. No, people look at that lamb and they're like, how can I best protect this thing? Allow it to flourish and let it frolic in the fields. That's your inner child. Don't look at your inner child and say, I want to suppress you. I want to make sure that you're never happy and you can never do things. Like, truly, imagine the younger version of yourself standing in front of you. Would you tell that child, if it was another child, like, I'm going to suppress you. I don't want you to be happy. I want to force you to grow into something big and strong and immovable so nobody can mess with you. No, you would probably say like, you're just a kid. Like, go play, go have fun. Who cares what the other kids on the playground are saying? Let yourself indulge in what makes you happy. Because you're only able to be a child for so long. And for you, you never fully got to live out that childhood. But you can still do it now. You can still pursue painting or poetry or flowers or, whatever it is that you want to do. And honestly, that's going to be the most healthy thing for you. Because it's the animal spirit that you're meant to embody. You're meant to embody your inner child. You're meant to reconnect to it. You're meant to embody creativity and following what your heart wants. If you imagine a baby lamb or a human child, they just do what their heart wants. They don't care about what other people think of them. Up until like the age of 7, kids will run around naked and like not really care because they have that kind of, nothing can touch me, nobody's gonna hurt me kind of innocence of like, they just purely follow what they desire. And honestly, you're meant to do that. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading, and I hope that you can embody this energy in your future. Something I will say is if you start seeing lambs a lot, it could be a synchronicity from the universe to embody more of this energy, so keep an eye out. That might be a sign that starts popping up for you more now. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, you got the dragon card, which I think is super cool, but I'm kind of getting this unconventional idea coming to me about what that is supposed to mean. So when I was first looking at the dragon card, I'm like, okay, a person embodying dragon energy, what would they be doing? And in my mind, I was picturing, dragons are these like ancient creatures. I know in mythology they're supposed to live a very long time. They're also very wise creatures, and they, like, when they need to get up and go and fight, they will. But a lot of the time, I'm not imagining them running from place to place. Often you actually see them rooted and protecting certain areas. So I can actually see you as kind of like the head of the home, the protector, and also the wise one. I imagine that when you're embodying this energy, you are very protective of those around you. You're very strong in your character and what you believe in. Like, nobody can push you over. Nobody can change your opinions except for you. Like, you are very in tune with your intuition and what feels right to you. I'm also imagining, like, if there's a lot of children around you, or even just children that you encounter throughout life, even if they're not your own, or even if you don't work with children, I feel like you have a tendency to impart wisdom on them. Like you have, like when you communicate with people, I feel like you always leave that person with a new idea of something that they never thought of, or you leave them with a story that really sticks with them, because I think that you have a lot of wisdom that deserves to be passed on to people. And even if it's not necessarily children, because I do get a sense that you're very protective, and so maybe children kind of are energetically like attracted to you, whether you realize it or not. But I'm also thinking like, friends or colleagues, they kind of always recognize you as the wise one. And sometimes it can be a little bit detrimental when people are always coming to us for advice, and it's like, well, I never get to give, I never get to go to other people for advice. So obviously do this in moderation. Never feel required to overextend yourself if you're not feeling it. But I feel like when people do come to you for advice or to talk about their issues, you always have the solution that they need. Because when I imagine a dragon, I'm imagining somebody who's lived 1,000 lifetimes, somebody who's extremely wise, very spiritual. I feel like dragons are inherently spiritual beings. They're very in tune with forces that the average person maybe isn't. So I think that you're somebody with a very strong sense of intuition, very strong sense of spirituality. Like I said, I think that your beliefs are really set in stone. Like, you know what you believe, and nobody telling you like this is wrong is going to sway you. Nothing is going to deter you, because you have a very strong sense of self. Now, that's what you will embody if you're properly embodying this energy. Now, if you're not properly embodying this energy, I imagine somebody who's very standoffish, somebody who is maybe more of a loner, like they don't properly know how to open up to other people. Because, dragons have very strong, hardened scales. They're supposed to be fireproof and like arrows just bounce off of them. And so if you're not properly embodying this dragon energy, I could almost see you being as more of a recluse or somebody that doesn't properly know how to open up to others, somebody that isn't easily very vulnerable with others, because maybe you see that as a weakness. And I think being solitary can certainly be comfortable, and certainly that is for certain people. But for you, when I'm imagining a dragon energy, is they are their most comfortable and fulfilled when they are able to protect others, when they are the head of the home or the head of the community, the leader, but also somebody who's usually very rooted in place. So somebody who enjoys having a proper community around them. Even if you live in a big city, having a designated group of very solid people around you. But I think I'm imagining in my head, like, I feel like you'll be at your most comfortable when you're living in like a smaller town, or maybe areas where just everybody knows each other, or it's just a very strong community kind of vibe. Not one of those things where it's like every man for themselves. I think that's not something that you would feel most comfortable in. So I think that if you properly embody this energy, you will be somebody who's very powerful, somebody who's very in tune with their spirituality, their intuition, their beliefs, and their confidence in themselves, but not somebody who's cocky and boasting. Like, a dragon, everybody just looks at the dragon and already knows that they're powerful. Like, the dragon doesn't have to walk up to people and say, like, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm cool. It's like, it's just something that you'll naturally radiate because you embody it. The dragon kind of has this, like, this quiet sense of power. It's not overextending, it's not telling the whole town that it's powerful. It's like, you just know. And so when you're properly embodying this energy, you're not cocky, you don't feel a need to prove yourself, you're not very insecure, you're very strong in your beliefs, you're set in your beliefs, and you're also a protector of others. I think that you're somebody who maybe you'll like the idea of training very hard with weapons or martial arts so that you have the ability to protect others around you. Maybe you'll be drawn to certain careers where you protect others. Yeah, that's the kind of energy that I get from somebody properly embodying the dragon energy. But also, there are improper ways to embody it. So if you find yourself being more of a recluse, if you find yourself needing to prove yourself to others, if you find yourself being more insecure or not liking vulnerability, it might be time to look at those certain things. And if you start seeing dragons everywhere, like if you start seeing books about dragons or little miniature dragons at stores, or people start talking about dragons around you, it could be signs from the universe or synchronicities that you need to see that it's time to embody more of this energy, more of this proper dragon energy. Because I truly do believe that this is the kind of animal spirit that you're meant to embody in this lifetime. And it is a very powerful energy to embody, but it's also very hard to acquire, especially if you're dealing with your own insecurities, your own fears. Oftentimes, the energy that we are meant to be can be pushed aside in favor of what's easiest to cover up, what's easiest to deal with. But pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading, and keep a lookout for those dragons. But thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3. If you chose the Snowflake Obsidian, then this is the reading for you. Now, I'm actually going to do something different for you than I have done for the previous piles, and that is reading from the actual guidebook, because I feel like this perfectly sums up what I want to say, just in a more cohesive sense. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, I want to start by saying, like I said, there are two sides to all of these cards. You can be the proper raccoon energy where you're in tune with your highest self, when you're feeling your most comfortable, when you're at your most powerful, but there's also the other side of this. So when you're not feeling your most powerful, when you're not feeling good, you are the other side of the raccoon. So, it's not like you're only the raccoon when you're good or you're only the raccoon when you're bad. It's like, it's multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and have me read it to you. All right, the raccoon. Talented, shadowy, in hiding. It's also an earth sign. Raccoon energy is at play within all artists, to greater or lesser degrees. At best, it indicates talent, tenacity, and skillfulness with a particular music instrument or creative tool. Its shadow side points to an unresolved issue around self-image and success. Sometimes using a stage name or wearing a mask works in an artist's favor. Other times it limits creativity. Am I who my audience thinks I am? What if I am ready to grow into something more? Raccoon energy won't let us off the hook until this creative ego fear is resolved. So when in balance, it's a generous friend or exceptional artist. When out of balance, competitive, starving artists. To bring into balance, make new work. So, like it said, the raccoon, I feel like you might have dealt with a lot of insecurities and imposter syndrome throughout your life. I think you're also a very creative person. And like the book says, when you're out of balance, you kind of deal with these feelings of your ego getting in the way, or your fears getting in the way, or I'm not good enough, I'm never gonna make it, or like, I'm almost imagining the raccoon saying to itself, like, I'm too small to succeed. Like, imagine there's a fence, and on the other side is like what it's trying to get at. And it's like, it's looking at this fence and it's like, I'm too small, I'm not good enough. But it doesn't realize, sometimes its insecurities shadow over the fact that this is a very clever, intelligent creatures with low-key, they've got like opposable thumbs. Like, have you ever noticed that raccoons have full-on hands? Like, they could do a lot of technical things. They have the ability to succeed at whatever they want. So the raccoon, when it's not feeling its most powerful, when it's most uncomfortable, when it's most insecure, believes it can't get over this fence. All it sees is, I'm small, fence is tall. But if it were to believe in itself more, if it was more in tune with how clever it is, it would sit back and say, okay, how can I figure this out? And it would come up with a creative solution of like, okay, I move this box over here, I jump onto this thing, I go up this alternative way, and I make it over. So I think you, as a person, I think that you have a lot of tenacity. I think that you can succeed at whatever you want. And you're also very clever and creative. So I think you would do well in a lot of roles where it allows you to use your brain to figure things out, to solve problems. Something that's coming to mind for some reason, which this isn't meant to be a career reading, but I felt drawn to tell you some ideas in case, maybe you went down one path and you don't realize all the potential that you have in other paths. Something that came to mind is like video game designer, video game developer. Something that recently happened in Destiny 2. I played Destiny 2. It's a live service game, which means it's not just one set package that they put out. They're constantly adding new things and updating new things. And something that recently happened is there was a major glitch that appeared in the game that basically broke the whole game. And so these developers actually had to solve and come up with all these different ideas of like, okay, how do we solve this problem? Do we take these guns out of the game? Do we make sure people don't have access to this type of thing? And they ended up coming up with some really great ideas to solve the problem without kicking everybody off the game. But basically what I wanted to get at there is there's a lot of roles in like engineering, for example, or computer science or coding that allow you to use your cleverness. It's not all jobs have to look at like, okay, you've got this position, you do these two things, and you do that 9 to 5 every day, for the next 10 years. And like, that's your job. It's like, no, there are certain jobs that you could be most powerful in, you could work best in by allowing yourself to use your cleverness. I think you're a very naturally clever and creative person, even if that doesn't necessarily look like artistry. I think you would absolutely excel in artistry if you feel drawn to that. But there's also, like I said, there's other areas of careers that you could get into that allow you to use that creativity, that allow you to use that wonderful mind that I think that you have. And so when you're most in tune with this raccoon energy, when you're your most powerful, you're not second guessing yourself based on stature or based on your abilities. You have a full belief in yourself that if you set your mind to something, you will make it happen. That you can be the one that's relied on to make things happen, to put things into motion, and to achieve what you set your mind to. You also have such a strong mind that you can come up with new things and new ways to do things that nobody's ever thought of. So in order to properly embody this energy, you have to acknowledge what a smart person you are, what a capable person you are. But I think if you're not properly embodying this, there's a lot of, like I said, imposter syndrome or belief that you're not good enough or that you're not very smart. Maybe some people told you when you were younger that you're not intelligent, and that's absolutely not true. And so in order to properly embody this energy, You need to prove to yourself and believe in yourself that, I can make these things happen. Whatever I want to achieve, I can set my mind to and make it happen. Because I truly believe that you can. But the biggest thing that holds you back is mindset. Like looking at the fence, for example, and saying, fence is tall, I'm too small to get over that. That's going to limit you, keep you in place, and hold you back from getting over there. Whereas if you fully believe in your abilities, you believe in how smart and how tenacious you are, you would be able to be like, okay, I got opposable thumbs, I've got a brilliant mind. What do I need to put into place so that I can build stairs to get over this thing? So I feel like this was a short and sweet reading, but I don't know what more that I could say about it. I think your greatest strengths and your greatest talents are your mind and your tenacity. Your ability to go forth and continue on, even when you get put down, even when there's hurdles to get over. Because I always imagine the raccoon as like the underdog, the one that people don't really think much of because, people call it trash panda. And like they only see it climbing through trash bins. It's like, no, that's a smart creature. That thing has thumbs. Like, I can't get over it. It can do, like, a lot of things. Like, it could use tools if it wanted to. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't really looked at raccoon anatomy, but you look at their little hands, like, and they're really clever creatures. But with this mask over it, I feel like you get this reputation of, like, up to no good. Like, it looks like a little burglar, or, it's a trash panda. But that's not true. The names that people have put on you, the limiting beliefs that they've put on you and that you've put on yourself, when you're at your greatest, when you're at your strongest, those things can't hold you back. Those things cannot hold you back from realizing your potential, and I think that you've got a lot of potential. But I think you've got this nagging thing in your brain that's like, I'm only ever able to be a trash panda. I only deserve trash. And it's like, no, you're a very smart, amazingly powerful creature. You deserve just as much respect as like a lion or an eagle. There's nothing wrong with being a raccoon. So, pile 4? I think that was pile 4. Thank you so much for watching. That is everything that I have. And if you start seeing raccoons a lot around you or online or on stickers or stuff like that, it could be that is a sign and synchronicity that the universe is trying to send to you, basically reminding you to properly embody the energy that you're meant to. Belief in yourself. If you're feeling really down or like I can't do it, or you don't believe in your abilities, or you're dealing with imposter syndrome, and you start to see these raccoon signs around you, it's a sign from the universe that yes, you absolutely can achieve what you're meant to. You are such an incredibly smart creature. So keep an eye out. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 5. Last but certainly not least, if you chose the blue Dumortierite, then this is the reading for you. And the card that you got here is the Nightingale, which is not like one of the most prominent creatures that you'll see around. I feel like it's pretty rare, so I want to say off the bat, like if you start seeing references to nightingales specifically, like a lot, like more than usual, I think that is definitely a sign and synchronicity from the universe that it's time for you to get more in tune with your abilities and your ability to speak freely. Because what the nightingale is all about is, it sings its song, its very unique song at night. And when I imagine a person who embodies this nightingale energy, it's somebody with something to say. It's somebody who feels drawn, whether by their intuition or the universe or their God or whatever, they feel drawn to a certain path to share certain stories or maybe literally sing, but they have a message that they are meant to give to the universe, to give to other people around them. And so when you're not properly embodying this energy, you're being maybe you'll be untruthful, or maybe you'll be very shy, or you're not the one to speak up. But I think you have some very strong beliefs that you're meant to share with the world. And I'm going to share this one idea, which there's this guy on YouTube, and I've seen his videos before. I don't align with his beliefs. I have my own political beliefs. I'm very liberal, okay? And I don't believe in misogyny. And he has a lot of very traditional beliefs, but I also can't help but respect how he stands up for his beliefs. And there's this guy called John Lovell on YouTube. He's very Christian, very conservative, but something that he talks about is this warrior poet belief, which is this belief that everybody within them should have both a warrior and a poet. They should all embody the desire to protect, the desire to go forth and do what you're meant to do in this lifetime, but also you should have the poet within you, the one that enjoys beauty, that enjoys creativity, that also is able to love those around you. Now, I think that, that's a great story in and of itself, but he also has a lot of beliefs that I disagree with. But the reason that I bring it up is because I've seen through his videos that he is somebody who felt very drawn to sharing his voice. Even if there's people like me that disagree with a lot of the other things that he says, no matter what, he's an older man, but he still found his way to have a platform on YouTube to say what he believes his message is, to say what he felt drawn to doing. And so for you, you might have a message like that. You might have certain beliefs that you look around and you're like, everybody around me has like this ailment, or they're not properly embodying this thing, and I have these beliefs inside me. I want to tell them about, what I think. And, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right, but if it's something you feel drawn to doing, there's going to be people out there that want to hear it. Like, for instance, with the example I just brought up, I don't really ascribe to conservative beliefs, but there are a lot of people that do, and there's a lot of people that want to hear his message. Just like if I have a certain message that I want to convey through tarot, there's going to be people that are drawn to it, people that want to hear it. And so if you have a certain thing that you want to say to the world, if it's political or if it's philosophical or if it's spiritual, don't think about all the people that aren't going to relate to it, because there's always going to be people that don't relate to things. There's this there's this saying that if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. I think that's how it goes. But it's basically like, if you're trying to apply to everybody, if you're trying to appeal to everybody, then you stand for nothing, because everybody stands for different things. So the best thing that you can do is be authentic to yourself. I think that you have a message to share with the world, whether it's online or maybe it's through people that you meet. But if you feel drawn to it, say it. I think when you're properly embodying the nightingale energy, you're being authentic with yourself. You're following what your heart wants you to do. You're speaking up when it feels right to you. But when you're not, all you see is like, I'm so small, my voice is so small, nobody's going to be able to hear what I'm saying, or, what I'm saying isn't right, my voice is too shaky. No, that is the energy that you're not meant to embody. That anxious shyness, that belief that whatever you're going to say doesn't matter, that's not what you're meant to embody. What you're meant to embody is this proper nightingale energy, where even though you're this small little bird, you're standing on top of the world and you're like, I'm going to shout from the rooftops what I'm meant to say in this lifetime. And there's going to be people that disagree, there's going to be people that hate me for it, but I say it for myself, and I say it for those that are going to believe in me, people that believe in what I'm saying, and those who agree with me. So, I think that's why I brought up that John Lovell guy. Even though I disagree with what he believes in, I don't necessarily ascribe to it, I respect the fact that he has something that he wants to say, and he says it to the world, And I personally have something I want to say, and so I do my best to say it to the world. And you might have something completely unique altogether. And if you feel drawn to telling the world about it, I encourage you to do so. So, pile 5. That is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.